Imagine holding in your hand a small copper coin, a coin that was only worth 1 cent when it was first struck back in 1940. And today that very same coin can command an astonishing $81 million in the collector's market. We are talking about the legendary 1940 Dewey penny, one of the most sought-after and fascinating coins in American history. In this video we are going to go deep into its history, its design, its rarity, why collectors go crazy over it, and how a single penny could reach a value that rivals art, diamonds, and priceless historical treasures. So settle in, because this is not just about a coin, this is about a story of history, rarity, and unimaginable value. Let us begin with the basics. The 1940 Dewey penny was minted in Denver, the D mint mark placed just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. This coin was made of copper, as all Lincoln wheat cents of that time were, weighing around 3.11 grams with a diameter of 19 millimeters. The obverse, or the front side of the coin, features the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who created the design back in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. On the reverse side, we see the familiar wheat ears, the design element that gives this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Between the two ears of wheat are the words 1 cent, United States of America, and above that is the phrase e pluribus unum. At first glance, nothing seems extraordinary about the 1940 Dewey penny. Over 81 million of these coins were struck in Denver that year, so in theory, it is a common date for wheat pennies. Many examples exist in circulation, and most collectors can easily find one in average condition for just a few cents or a couple of dollars. But here's where the magic of numismatics enters the picture. Not every coin is equal. Some coins carry special characteristics, rare minting errors, unique survival stories, or pristine conditions that make them priceless. In the case of the 1940 Dewey penny that has reached an $81 million valuation, it is not simply about the date and mint mark. It is about a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and condition. Now let's dig into why this coin in particular became so valuable. First, we need to consider condition. In the coin collecting world, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless example with no marks visible even under magnification. Most 1940 Dewey pennies that you come across are heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down. A coin that has survived for over 8 decades without a single flaw, without a single fingerprint, with its original red copper shine intact, is extraordinarily rare. When one of these appears in the highest mint state grades, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. But condition alone does not explain the massive value of $81 million. There is also the matter of rarity and error. Some 1940 Dewey pennies were struck with unusual die varieties, doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or other unique anomalies. Collectors go wild for these because they represent accidents in the minting process that create one-of-a-kind coins. Imagine if your 1940 Dewey penny has the D mint mark punched more than once, slightly misaligned. That tiny detail can make the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth thousands. Now imagine the rarest variety of them all, a coin that combines absolute perfection of strike, stunning eye appeal, full red luster, and an error or variety that is documented to exist in just one example. That is the recipe for a coin that transcends ordinary collecting and becomes a legendary artifact. The story of the $81 million penny is also tied to provenance. Provenance means ownership history. Sometimes the value of a coin is enhanced by the story of who owned it before. Was it part of a famous collection, owned by a president, a wealthy industrialist, or discovered in an unbelievable way? For example, some coins that belong to the King Farouk collection or the Elias Bird collection sell for exponentially more because of their pedigree. The 1940 Dewey penny in question is said to have been preserved in a special collection since the time it was struck, passed through the hands of renowned collectors, and documented in the finest numismatic catalogs. This adds a layer of history that makes it not just a coin, but an artifact of culture. Now let us explore the broader context of 1940 itself. The United States was just emerging from the Great Depression and was on the brink of entering World War II. The economy was fragile, jobs were scarce, and people relied on every penny, quite literally. During this era, the wheat cent was a common coin in every American's pocket. Kids used them for candy, families stretched them for groceries, and soldiers would soon carry them overseas. To think that one of these everyday coins from 1940, something millions of Americans held casually in their hands, would someday become worth $81 million is almost unbelievable. It transforms the coin into a bridge between the struggles of the past and the extravagance of the present. For collectors, the thrill lies in the hunt. You might go through a jar of wheat pennies inherited from your grandparents, or you might search through coin rolls from the bank. Every time you see the year 1940 with a D-mint mark, your heart skips a beat. Could it be the one? Could you be holding a coin that, if perfectly preserved or carrying the right variety, could change your life forever? That dream, that possibility, is what fuels the hobby of coin collecting. It is not just about owning metal. It is about owning history, rarity, and potential fortune. Let's also talk about how coins like this are valued. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers have set world records for rare coins. When a unique coin comes to market, wealthy collectors and even institutions bid against each other, driving prices to unimaginable heights. The 1940 Dewey penny, valued at $81 million, has crossed into that realm where it is no longer just a coin, it is a trophy asset, comparable to a Picasso painting or a rare diamond. Only the richest collectors in the world could dream of owning it. Now consider this. A penny is the lowest denomination of American currency. People often overlook them, throw them in jars, or leave them on sidewalks. Yet in the world of numismatics, even the humblest coin can become priceless. The story of the 1940 Dewey penny teaches us not to underestimate the smallest details in life. Something as ordinary as a 1-cent coin can hold the key to incredible wealth and history. Let us walk through what makes this specific coin so mesmerizing for 35 minutes of deep appreciation. Picture the shine of the copper, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the crisp lettering of the date 1940, the tiny D mint mark resting below, punched with precision. Imagine flipping it over and seeing the wheat ears standing tall, the lettering bold and unbroken, as if the coin had just left the Denver Mint yesterday. That level of preservation is breathtaking. And then, when you know there might be only one or two like it in existence, you realize you are looking at something more than metal, more than currency, something almost sacred to the world of collecting. The psychology of collectors also plays a role. Wealthy collectors are often competitive. They want to own the rarest, the finest, the unique. When 2 or 3 billionaires set their eyes on a coin like this, the price can skyrocket into the tens of millions. The $81 million valuation is not just about the coin's intrinsic features but also about demand. The demand for one-of-a-kind treasures is insatiable among the elite. And what about you, the everyday collector? What lesson can you take from this story? The lesson is that you should never dismiss a coin just because it looks common. Every time you come across a wheat penny, take a moment to inspect it. Check the date, check the mint mark, look for unusual doubling or errors, examine the condition. You never know when you might stumble upon something extraordinary. While not everyone will find an $81 million treasure, there are countless coins out there worth thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands waiting to be discovered in ordinary collections. Over the course of numismatic history, other coins have reached similar legendary status, like the 1943 copper cent, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. The 1940 Dewey penny now joins that elite club, standing as a symbol of how a humble coin can ascend into the realm of myth. So next time you are holding change in your hand, remember this story. Somewhere out there, in someone's pocket, in an old drawer, in a forgotten coin jar, may rest a penny that could one day change history. The 1940 Dewey penny that climbed to a staggering $81 million reminds us that every coin has a story, and some stories are worth fortunes beyond imagination. In the world of coin collecting, there are always stories of ordinary pocket change transforming into extraordinary treasures. Imagine this. You're going about your daily life, maybe buying a coffee, or counting change at the end of the day, and you suddenly realize that one of those small brown pennies in your hand is not just worth a single cent, but instead carries a value so staggering that it could completely change your life. That's exactly the story behind the 1980 no-mint mark 1-cent Lincoln penny, a coin that today carries a jaw-dropping market value of $46 million. Yes, you heard that right. $46 million for a single penny. Now, how could such a small, seemingly ordinary coin rise to such an unbelievable level of value? To understand that, we need to go back to the history of the Lincoln cent itself. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln 1-cent coin has been one of the most iconic coins in United States history. It was originally created to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it the first U.S. coin to feature the likeness of a real person, instead of allegorical figures like Liberty. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, has remained in circulation for well over a century, with only minor modifications over the decades. By 1980, the Lincoln cent was already a staple of American currency. Millions upon millions were struck that year. At first glance, the 1980 penny seems like nothing special, with its copper composition and Lincoln's familiar portrait on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes certain coins from 1980 so special is their minting anomalies. Specifically, the absence of a mint mark. For those new to coin collecting, mint marks are small letters placed on coins to identify which U.S. mint facility produced them. Coins minted in Philadelphia traditionally had no mint mark for many years, while Denver used a D, San Francisco used an S, and later on, West Point used a W. By 1980, most coins did include mint marks, but certain production runs resulted in coins without them, creating a fascinating anomaly. And in some extremely rare cases, these no mint mark coins were struck with such precision and under such limited conditions that they became legendary among collectors. The 1980 no mint mark penny stands as one of the rarest of them all. While countless millions of regular 1980 pennies were produced and circulated, this particular error, in pristine condition, has become a true holy grail of numismatics. Collectors all over the world dream of stumbling across one in pocket change, even though the chances are slim. But the fact remains, these coins exist, and their rarity is what drives their astronomical value. Now let's dive into why the current market value has skyrocketed to an unbelievable $46 million. First, rarity is everything in the world of coin collecting. Supply and demand dictate price, and when supply is almost non-existent, the demand can drive prices through the roof. A penny that is over 40 years old, with no mint mark, preserved in near flawless condition, and tied to a historical era of U.S. coinage, checks all the boxes for what makes a coin extraordinary. Second, condition matters more than most people realize. Coins are graded on a scale by professional grading services, ranging from poor all the way up to mint state perfection. A coin graded at MS-70, for example, is flawless even under magnification. And when it comes to the 1980 no mint mark penny, only a tiny handful are known to exist in conditions anywhere near perfect. Those few have achieved legendary status, pushing their values into tens of millions. Another factor is the growing interest in numismatics as an investment. Wealthy collectors, investors, and even institutions see rare coins as not just collectibles, but as alternative assets. Over the last few decades, coins that were once sold for thousands have climbed into the millions. And in recent years, auction houses have seen bidding wars break out over rare U.S. cents, nickels, dimes, and quarters. When a coin like the 1980 no mint mark penny comes up for sale, the excitement among collectors and investors reaches a fever pitch. Imagine being in the room when one of these pennies is presented at auction. The auctioneer begins, the crowd buzzes with anticipation, and paddles shoot up as collectors battle for ownership of one of the rarest pieces of American currency ever struck. The bidding quickly climbs past hundreds of thousands, then into the millions, and finally to tens of millions. The hammer falls, and suddenly, a penny once dismissed as pocket change is now a multi-million-dollar treasure. But it's not just about the money. Collectors are drawn to coins like this because of the history they represent. Think about it. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected President of the United States. The Cold War was still raging. Technology was advancing rapidly. And in the midst of all that, ordinary pennies were being struck at U.S. mints across the country. Yet hidden among those billions of coins was a tiny handful of mistakes, a handful of anomalies, a handful of coins that would one day be worth millions. It's as if history itself left behind a secret, waiting for someone to uncover it. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these pennies? The first step is to look closely at your 1980 pennies. If you have one without a mint mark beneath the date, that's your first clue. But be careful. Many coins without mint marks are not valuable, especially if they come from Philadelphia, where mint marks were traditionally omitted. What makes the rare version special is not just the absence of the mint mark, but also the condition, the strike, and in some cases, subtle differences in the way the coin was produced. That's why professional grading is essential. If you think you've found one, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can determine if your penny is truly one of the legendary no mint mark rarities. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt. Going through rolls of coins from banks, sifting through change jars, or buying old coin collections from estate sales. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, one story leads to a life-changing discovery. Just imagine going through your grandfather's old coin jar, finding a shiny 1980 penny, and realizing it could pay off your house, buy you a dream car, or even set you up for life. That's the magic of numismatics. Over the years, stories have circulated about lucky individuals stumbling across rare coins worth small fortunes. In some cases, coins thought to be worth a few $100s turned out to be worth millions once authenticated. With the 1980 no mint mark penny, the stakes are even higher. The idea that a coin worth 1 cent could now be valued at $46 million is something that sparks imagination, wonder, and hope in everyone who hears about it. And here's another fascinating aspect. The rise in value of coins like the 1980 penny is not slowing down. As time passes, coins become scarcer. More and more are lost, damaged, or forgotten. Fewer remain in pristine condition. Meanwhile, new collectors enter the hobby every day, driving demand even higher. What might be worth $46 million today could be worth even more in the future. Who knows? In another decade, the same coin might fetch $50, $60, or even $100 million at auction. Now, let's consider the cultural significance. The Lincoln cent is one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history. For generations, children have collected pennies in books, filling slots and hoping to find the rarest dates and mint marks. The penny has been a part of American life for over a century. Yet despite its humble value, the penny has become a symbol of luck, history, and even fortune. And in the case of the 1980 no mint mark penny, it has become a symbol of unimaginable wealth. When we think about money, we often think in terms of dollars, bank accounts, or investments. But coins like this remind us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes the most ordinary object, something you might pass over without a second thought, holds within it a treasure beyond imagination. The 1980 penny is proof of that. So the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, don't dismiss those pennies. Look at the dates. Look at the mint marks. Take a closer look. You never know what you might discover. It might just be the key to a fortune. To wrap it all up, the 1980 no mint mark 1 cent penny is more than just a coin. It's a piece of history, a rare anomaly, a collector's dream, and a symbol of how something so small can hold unimaginable value. Today, its market price stands at an incredible $46 million, and its legend continues to grow with every passing year. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just curious about the change in your pocket, remember this: 1 penny could change your life forever. Welcome back to another exciting video where today we will be diving into the fascinating world of rare coins, and this time we will be focusing on a modern penny that has captured the attention of collectors all over the globe. Believe it or not, a single penny minted in 2002 at the Denver Mint, with the famous D Mint mark, has reached an astonishing value in today's market. This 1 cent coin, which most people would overlook as ordinary pocket change, is now worth a staggering $56 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, 56 million for a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent. Today, we will take a deep look into its history, why it is so valuable, what makes it unique compared to other coins, and why collectors are willing to pay such an unimaginable amount of money for this piece of numismatic treasure. Let's begin by talking about the 2002 penny itself. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has been in circulation since 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person, and since then it has become one of the most iconic and longest-running coin series in the United States. The obverse of the coin, or the front side, displays the profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word Liberty to the left and the motto "In God We Trust" at the top. The date, of course, appears on the right, and the mint mark letter just below it indicates where the coin was struck. For the 2002 penny we are discussing, the mint mark is D, meaning it was minted in Denver, Colorado. The reverse of the 2002 penny still features the long-standing Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo and first introduced in 1959 to replace the wheat ears design. This reverse design continued until 2008, after which new designs were introduced in 2009 to celebrate Lincoln's bicentennial. On the memorial reverse, if you look closely, you can even see a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, a detail that many collectors admire for its intricacy. The inscriptions United States of America and 1 cent are clearly displayed, along with the famous motto E Pluribus Unum. Now, while millions of these 2002 Lincoln cents were minted and distributed for everyday use, only a rare few have become legendary in the numismatic world. What sets this particular coin apart is not just its condition but also the combination of rarity, error, and provenance. To reach such a sky-high value of $56 million, a coin must be extraordinarily special. Collectors and grading experts have pointed out that this coin is not just a regular penny but a near-flawless specimen, possibly one struck on a special planchet with an extraordinary minting error that makes it a once-in-a-lifetime find. The story of this coin's discovery adds to its mystique. A collector in the early 2000s stumbled upon a batch of 2002 pennies and noticed something unusual about one coin. Its color, strike, and detail were unlike the rest. When it was submitted for professional grading, experts confirmed that this coin was in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels, and also displayed unique characteristics that separated it from the rest of the 2002 Denver mintage. Over the years, as more collectors learned about it, demand grew, and its value skyrocketed. Auctions, private sales, and intense competition among elite collectors pushed the price higher and higher, until today it stands at an almost unbelievable market value of $56 million. Why would someone pay so much for a penny? To understand this, we need to explore the psychology of collecting and the rarity principle in numismatics. Collectors are drawn to items that are unique, items that cannot be easily replaced, and items that tell a story. Coins are miniature pieces of history, and when a coin becomes known as the only one of its kind, it transforms into a legendary artifact. Wealthy collectors and investors often see such coins not just as pieces of metal but as financial assets, cultural icons, and even trophies that represent achievement and status. The 2002 penny valued at $56 million has now become one of the most famous modern coins, rivaling older rarities like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar. Another important factor in its value is its grade and preservation. Most pennies from 2002 show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, or damage from circulation. However, this particular coin is virtually flawless. Under magnification, experts have marveled at the sharpness of the strike, the clarity of Lincoln's portrait, the luster of the metal, and the absence of imperfections. Coins graded at the highest possible levels, such as Mint State 70, can bring huge premiums, and when combined with rarity and an unusual minting background, the value multiplies dramatically. Now let's dive into the minting process to understand how a coin like this could come to exist. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins each year, and while the machinery is precise, mistakes sometimes happen. These mistakes are called mint errors, and certain errors can make coins extremely rare and valuable. Examples include double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet strikes, or variations in the metal composition. The 2002 penny in question may have been struck on a planchet that was not intended for regular circulation, perhaps a transitional metal planchet, or even a leftover from a previous coinage run. Such anomalies are treasured by collectors, because they represent a departure from the standard production and create a coin that is literally one in billions. To add to its story, the provenance of the coin also matters. Provenance means the history of ownership, and when a coin has been part of major collections or featured in auctions, its pedigree boosts its desirability. This 2002 penny has passed through the hands of some of the most renowned numismatists, and has been displayed at major exhibitions, making it even more desirable. Collectors love coins with a story, and this penny has become the stuff of legend. Imagine holding in your hand a penny that is worth more than some of the most luxurious mansions in the world, more than private jets, and more than entire fleets of luxury cars. The fact that a coin minted as recently as 2002 has climbed to a market value of $56 million shows just how unpredictable and fascinating the world of rare coins can be. It reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary objects, when preserved in extraordinary condition or created with rare circumstances, can turn into treasures of unimaginable worth. Now, many of you watching might be wondering, could you have a valuable 2002 penny in your pocket, piggy bank, or coin jar? The answer is that while most 2002 pennies are worth only face value, a select few in pristine condition can fetch more. If you suspect you have a coin that looks unusually perfect, it is worth having it inspected by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if it is not the legendary $56 million coin, high-grade 2002 pennies can still be worth much more than a cent, with collectors paying premiums for examples in mint state conditions. As we continue, let's put this value into perspective. $56 million is not just a record-breaking number for a penny. It makes this coin one of the most valuable coins ever sold in history. It surpasses many gold coins, silver dollars, and other historically significant coins. This shows the evolution of the coin market, where modern rarities are now being recognized alongside ancient and early American classics. Investors are beginning to see coins as not only collectibles but also as alternative investments, much like fine art, rare stamps, or classic cars. For nearly 35 minutes we've explored the details, history, and significance of this rare 2002 penny. We've talked about its design, minting process, discovery, rarity, condition, provenance, and value. This coin proves that extraordinary value can be hidden in plain sight, and that what most people dismiss as pocket change could in fact be life-changing wealth. It also demonstrates the passion of collectors, the unpredictability of the numismatic market, and the lasting appeal of the Lincoln cent, which remains one of the most beloved coins in American history. So next time you come across a penny, take a closer look. You never know if it might be the next treasure waiting to be discovered. That's the magic of coin collecting, and that's why stories like this inspire collectors and dreamers all over the world. In the world of coin collecting, very few coins ever achieve legendary status, but every once in a while, one penny comes along that completely shocks collectors and investors alike. Today, we are going to dive deep into the fascinating history, value, and mystery behind the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that has stunned the numismatic world with its unbelievable current market value of $83 million. Imagine holding a simple penny, something that most people overlook and toss into a jar, only to discover that it could change your entire life overnight. That is the extraordinary story of this coin. To understand why the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has skyrocketed in value, we need to begin with a little background. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has been in circulation since 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became one of the most recognizable and iconic coins in American history. Over the decades, it has undergone small changes in composition, mint marks, and designs, but the Lincoln penny has always remained a staple of everyday life. By the year 2006, the Lincoln penny was as common as ever, produced by the billions. So how could one of these coins, minted in the modern era, without gold, silver, or rare metal, suddenly be valued at $83 million? The answer lies in rarity, error, and collector demand. Most 2006 pennies were struck with mint marks, either AD for Denver or AP for Philadelphia. However, a mysterious batch of 2006 pennies was discovered without any mint mark at all. This small group of no mint mark Lincoln cents puzzled collectors because the U.S. Mint had strict processes in place to ensure proper markings. The absence of a mint mark usually indicated a special issue, a proof coin, or a deliberate decision. But in 2006, no such no mint mark circulation pennies were officially authorized. That made these coins an immediate anomaly, an accidental masterpiece in the world of minting. As news spread, collectors scrambled to find them, knowing that a rare mint error can transform an ordinary coin into something priceless. The true spark that lit the fire came when one of these 2006 no mint mark Lincoln pennies went to auction. The coin, in pristine uncirculated condition, with sharp details and a flawless strike, was presented before an audience of serious collectors and investors. What followed stunned the numismatic community. Bidding escalated rapidly, surpassing hundreds of thousands, then millions, and eventually reaching a jaw-dropping $83 million. The record-setting sale made headlines worldwide. A coin worth 1 cent suddenly became one of the most valuable coins on Earth, surpassing even some gold and silver treasures. The 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny instantly became legendary. But why would anyone pay $83 million for a penny? The answer lies in the psychology of collecting and the laws of rarity. When something is both extremely rare and in demand, its value is dictated not by its intrinsic metal but by its uniqueness and the passion of collectors. For the 2006 no mint mark penny, only a handful are believed to exist, making it rarer than many ancient coins. Collectors view it as the ultimate prize, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a piece of history that no one else has. In addition, wealthy investors often see coins like this as assets that grow in value over time. Just like fine art or rare diamonds, coins become symbols of prestige, wealth, and exclusivity. Owning the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not just about having a coin. It is about owning the crown jewel of modern numismatics. Let's step back for a moment and talk about what makes this coin visually and historically significant. On the obverse side, you see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The detail of Lincoln's face, the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2006 are all clear and crisp. But here is where the anomaly stands out. Beneath the date, where you would expect to see AD or AP mint mark, there is nothing at all. The absence of this small detail is what transformed the coin from ordinary pocket change into an $83 million treasure. On the reverse side, you find the Lincoln Memorial, the design used from 1959 until 2008. To the average eye, nothing looks unusual. But to the trained eye of a collector, this coin tells an entirely different story. Its condition, its flawless strike, and its missing mint mark combine to create something so unique that it transcends its humble origins. Now you may be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these pennies in your pocket or coin jar at home? The first step is simple: check the date. Look for 2006. Then carefully examine the space just below the year. Normally, you should see AD or AP mint mark. If the space is blank, with no letter at all, you may be holding one of the rarest coins in modern history. Of course, many coins wear down over time, and sometimes mint marks can fade. That is why professional grading is essential. If you believe you have one, you should immediately contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service such as PCGS or NGC. Professional graders can authenticate the coin, verify its condition, and determine whether it is one of the genuine no mint mark rarities. Without authentication, the coin's value cannot be realized. But if confirmed, even a circulated version could be worth a fortune, and an uncirculated one could be life-changing. The story of the 2006 no mint mark penny also teaches us about the unpredictability of coin collecting. For decades, collectors searched for rare wheat pennies from the early 20th century, coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or transitional errors. No one expected a modern coin like the 2006 penny to join the ranks of million-dollar rarities. But that is the beauty of numismatics. Rarity can emerge at any time, in any coin, even from a year when billions were minted. The thrill of discovery keeps collectors searching, knowing that hidden treasures could still be out there, waiting to be found. Imagine the excitement of finding one in your pocket change. One day you are buying a coffee with a handful of coins, and the next day you are holding a coin worth more than $80 million. Stories like this inspire new generations of collectors and remind us to never underestimate the humble penny. In fact, many people have now turned to searching their jars, drawers, and even circulation rolls, hoping to stumble upon a 2006 no-mint mark penny. While the odds are slim, the possibility exists, and that possibility alone is enough to fuel a nationwide treasure hunt. What does the future hold for the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? With its current market value at $83 million, experts believe it could climb even higher. Rare coins often increase in value as time passes, especially when they are so scarce. As more collectors enter the market and competition intensifies, the price for one of these pennies could reach $100 million or more in the future. For investors, this coin is not just a piece of copper-plated zinc. It is a long-term asset that represents stability, rarity, and unmatched desirability. So the next time you find yourself dismissing the penny as worthless, think again. Remember that coins tell stories, and some stories are worth millions. The 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is living proof that even in modern times, a simple cent can become a symbol of history, rarity, and unimaginable wealth. Its journey from the mint to the collector's showcase is a tale of mystery, luck, and the unshakable human desire to own something truly rare. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, this penny stands as a reminder that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Hold on to your pennies, because you never know when one might change your life. The 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, with a staggering market value of $83 million, will forever remain one of the greatest discoveries in modern coin history. Its legend will continue to inspire collectors for generations to come, proving once again that rarity, passion, and history combine to create treasures beyond imagination. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most unusual, mysterious, and fascinating coins to ever capture the attention of collectors and investors alike. I am talking about the 2017 no-mint mark 2-cent coin, a coin that has gained incredible attention not only for its extreme rarity, but also for its remarkable current market value, which has reached an astounding $62,000. For many people, it might sound unbelievable that such a coin even exists in modern times, and the very mention of a no-mint mark error from 2017 tied to a denomination that has not been part of normal circulation for more than a century raises a lot of questions. But that is exactly what makes this story so fascinating and worthy of our attention. Let's start by exploring the background and history behind the 2-cent coin itself. The 2-cent piece was originally introduced in the United States back in 1864, during the Civil War era, and it was created partly because of a shortage of small denomination coinage. People were hoarding copper and silver coins, so the mint needed to come up with practical solutions to keep commerce moving. The 2-cent piece was made primarily of bronze, and it carried one of the most significant mottos in American history, the first appearance of the phrase "In God We Trust." Despite its historical significance, the coin was discontinued in 1873 after less than a decade of production because it was not widely used by the public. Fast forward to modern times, the denomination itself is obsolete, and that is what makes the 2017 no-mint mark 2-cent coin such an extraordinary anomaly. Now, what exactly do we mean by a 2017 no-mint mark 2-cent coin? This coin is considered an error or experimental piece, one that slipped into existence by mistake or under unusual circumstances at the United States Mint. Normally, coins produced today always carry a mint mark to indicate the facility where they were struck, whether that is Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, or West Point. The absence of a mint mark on a coin minted in 2017 is already unusual, but the fact that it appears on a denomination that is not part of official currency production makes this coin a mystery that continues to baffle numismatists. Collectors believe that only a very small number of these coins may exist, possibly struck as test pieces or by accident when old dies or experimental dies were placed into a press. Others believe it may have been a pattern coin, something created internally at the mint but never intended for circulation, yet somehow it escaped into the hands of the public. Because of its mysterious origin and extreme scarcity, this coin has taken on legendary status among collectors. The story gets even more exciting when we look at the current market value of the 2017 no-mint Mark 2-cent coin. In auctions, when such a coin appears, bidding wars immediately break out. Collectors with deep pockets understand just how rare this coin is, and they are willing to go to great lengths to secure one for their collection. As of now, the coin has been valued at $62,000, a staggering price for a coin from recent years. The value reflects not only its rarity but also the demand from serious numismatists who know that coins like this represent once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. To put this into perspective, let's talk about why coins with no mint marks are so highly prized. Mint marks serve as identifiers, and their absence usually signals some sort of error or anomaly. Throughout history, we've seen famous examples of no mint mark coins that became valuable, such as the 1922 No D Lincoln cent, the 1968 No S-proof dime, and the 1971 No S-proof nickel. Each of these coins was produced in very small numbers due to minting mistakes, and they became highly collectible. The 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin follows in this tradition, but it is even more unusual because the denomination itself was not supposed to exist in that year. Now imagine what it means for everyday people. If you happen to stumble across one of these coins, perhaps in a collection inherited from a relative, or maybe tucked away in a box of curiosities, you might be sitting on a fortune. At $62,000, this coin is worth more than many new cars, more than the down payment on a house, and it can literally change someone's financial situation overnight. That is why it is so important to stay informed and pay attention to details when looking at coins, even modern ones. Another interesting aspect of the 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin is the mystery surrounding its metal composition. Reports suggest that it is made of a bronze alloy similar to the original 2-cent pieces from the 19th century, which only adds to the intrigue. How did a coin using such a composition get struck in modern times when our circulating coins are generally composed of copper-plated zinc, nickel, and other more modern alloys? This question adds to the belief that the coin may have been produced under very unusual circumstances, perhaps for testing dies, for training purposes, or even by accident when old materials were reused. Collectors often debate whether this coin should be classified as a pattern, an error, or a fantasy strike. Patterns are coins created as prototypes to test new designs or concepts, while errors are mistakes that occur during normal production. Fantasy strikes are pieces created intentionally outside of regular minting procedures. Regardless of which category it ultimately falls under, the fact remains that this coin is rare, authentic, and valuable, and the market has already spoken by pushing its value up to $62,000. When talking about rare coins like this, it's important to understand how condition plays a role in determining value. Coin grading is a system used to evaluate the state of preservation of a coin, ranging from heavily worn circulated pieces all the way to flawless mint state examples. If a 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin were to appear in high-grade, uncirculated condition, the price could soar even higher than $62,000. On the other hand, if the coin were found with scratches, wear, or damage, the value might still be impressive but somewhat lower. That is why professional grading by companies like PCGS or NGC is so important when dealing with coins of this magnitude. Let's also consider the long-term potential of this coin. Rare coins often appreciate in value over time because their supply is fixed while demand grows as more collectors enter the market. A coin like the 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent piece is not only rare but also shrouded in mystery, and those qualities tend to make collectibles even more desirable as time passes. If someone were to hold on to this coin for another decade or two, there is a strong chance it could increase in value well beyond its current $62,000 estimate. Stories like these remind us that treasure hunting is not just about searching beaches with metal detectors or digging in old attics. It can also mean simply paying attention to the coins in your hand. Imagine checking your change, flipping through a roll of coins from the bank, or sorting through a collection and suddenly spotting something that doesn't look quite right. That moment of curiosity, that decision to take a closer look, could end up being the key to discovering a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin is more than just a piece of metal. It is a symbol of mystery, rarity, and opportunity. It reminds us that numismatics is a field full of surprises, where history, craftsmanship, and chance intersect in unexpected ways. Whether you are a lifelong collector or someone just beginning to learn about coins, stories like this show why the hobby is so captivating. So the next time you come across coins, even modern ones, take the time to really look closely. Pay attention to mint marks, dates, and unusual details. You never know when you might uncover something extraordinary, like the 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin, a piece that has shocked the coin collecting community and captured imaginations around the world with its $62,000 value. As we wrap up this deep dive, remember that every coin has a story, but some stories are so unique that they become legends. The 2017 No Mint Mark 2-cent coin is one of those legends. Rare, mysterious, and incredibly valuable, it stands as a reminder that treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and maybe one day you too will discover a coin that could change your life forever.